welcome everybody. Anne and I are looking at place value today. It is one of our top topics, and when we get to the end of this session, you'll see how important it really is across so many different aspects of maths. And if you've got a child who is struggling higher up with maths, if you check out their place value understanding, you'll probably find that that's where a lot of their problems come from, because the understanding just isn't there. So before we go on, we just want to show you this video. Now, this video is on our website, and it's on the part of the website that originally we designed for use by parents of children at school. So you'll have to forgive us. You'll have to forgive us if it mentions children learning at school. So on this part of the website here, this is where, this isn't the ladder, it's the other side that comes through this menu here. And where at the moment we're in Maths That Helps Me Help My Child. And there you'll find lots and lots and lots of different things. Some of them are posters, some of them are videos, and they'll help you understand what it is you're about to work on with your child. So we're just going to watch this place value video so that everybody knows exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about place value.
Place value. Throughout your child's school career, place value will be a recurring concept at an age-appropriate level. To support this learning, it's important to iron out any misconceptions as soon as they occur. At first, the teacher will ensure your child knows about numbers up to 10. Once they move beyond 9, place value comes into play. Columns fit nicely into 3 groups: units, tens of units, hundreds of units, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and so on. To help him or her understand this concept, in school your child may use base 10 equipment along with the names of the columns. The basic principle behind place value is that each column is 10 times bigger than the column to the right and 10 times smaller than the column to the left. So, 10 of these make one of these, 10 of these make one of these, and 10 of these make one of these. Conversely, this can be divided into 10 of these, this can be divided into 10 of these, and this can be divided into 10 of these. In this 3-digit number, the 7 must have 2 more digits before the decimal place. These can be any digits, but here we've used 4 and 3, which makes 743. But what happens when we want to make the number 700? We still have to fill the columns, and we use these. We know them as zeros, but your child will also call them placeholders. In this example, they are used to keep the 7 in the hundreds column. Placeholders also occur in the middle of numbers. In this example, we've worked within the units columns, but this principle works in any part of the place value chart.
And so that's basically what we mean when we talk about place value. Now, the part there where it says about the digits being in certain places, here's a picture just to help explain that a little bit. What your child will find really difficult is, if they, up to now, whenever they've seen a 4, it's always meant 4 as in 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you say 4 to your child, they have that picture of 4 objects, whatever those objects are. But now what we're starting to ask your child to do is to see that digit 4, for instance, but see it in a different place, and it means something else then. It still means 4, there's going to be 4 of them, but in the first example there, it's 4 tens. In the second one, it's 4 tenths, and so on. So all of a sudden, we're starting to ask your child to do something that they're not used to doing. So let me just unshare my screen so we can go back to seeing me. There we go. So basically, that's place value. Place value means the value of a digit depends on the place it is in the number. Oh, there's a little thing from Twitter. So what does your child need to know before we can even start to teach place value or work on place value with them? Well, they need to know the value of numbers up to 9. Go on, Anne. What's that?
They need to understand the 5-ness of 5. They need to understand the 3-ness of 3. They'll have done a lot of work previous to this, so this concept should be well known to them.
They also need to know how to count backwards and forwards, how to do 1 more, 1 less, and they will need to know how to count backwards and forwards to 100. Now, we don't mean they know what that means. We just mean they can sing the song. So they can do the counting. So basically they know how the pattern goes. Because if they can't do that, when we start doing bundles of 10 and things, they're not going to be able to do it. And they need to be able to count up to 100 in tens. Again, literally singing the song 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It won't mean much else to them at the minute. They just know. So you might have done some work on that with hands or 10, 20, 30 or whatever. Now, in our program, place value doesn't come in until the yellow rung of the ladder. So it's quite high up really, but it's about having your child ready to understand the concept, because it is quite a difficult concept.
Yeah.
So here is how Anne and I would begin to teach this concept. The first thing we would do, which always causes great hilarity, is we have a huge bundle of straws or lolly sticks or something, and we just throw them in the air and we say to children, count them. And they're like, oh, no, count them. And then we let them get to maybe 30 or something or 40 something, and then we distract them by something that might be out the window or whatever, somebody drops something, or and we go, oh, look out there, and then they carry on counting. Oh, I forgot where I am. Because the idea behind that is we want them to know how difficult and how ineffective counting in ones is when you've got a large number. So then we just ask them, what could we do? And how could we count this big number easier? And we sort of experiment them with any of their suggestions. So some might say we could count in 2s. It all depends on what they've been doing. If they've just been counting in 5s with you, then that they might go to that, or we could count in 5s. Eventually, through discussion and trial and error, we get them to the point where we're putting things into bundles of 10. So all they're counting is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, bundle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when we've bundled all of the straws or the sticks, then we go back to counting 10, 20, 30, 40. And oh yeah, it is a lot easier to count. Which way do you want to do it? Because then they see some actual purpose in needing to see things in bundles of 10.
Yes.
So the next step we do is we use a single house and a family house, and we still haven't even talked about tens and units or anything yet. We're still pre tens and units. We're just setting the scene, getting the children to think of bundles and things like that. So here's a little video Anne and I made earlier. Oh, but I got to share the screen, otherwise the same will happen as happened last night. Here is a video that we made. We call it the big house and the little house. We've done it on paper. You might have 2 separate houses for your children. We've used lolly sticks. You might have enough people to be able to put them in the house. Right, today we're going to do some counting, and we're going to put some people in a house. Now the rule is only 9 people can fit into the house. So let's start to count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good.
6, 7, 8, 9. But I've got 1 left.
Oh. So why have you stopped?
Because you said they can only have 9 people in this house.
You can.
And I've got 10.
It's only a little house. So what do you think we could do to those people? Maybe they obviously can't fit in the little house, but what could we do you think?
Maybe I could put him here.
Can he go there? Is he a family on his own?
No, he's not. This is his family.
So why can't he
join it together?
Yes, because why can't he just go in that house with his family then?
Well, that's not right because there's only 9.
Ah, so if they were a family of 10, where do you think they might go?
Well, there's a bigger house next door.
So can you make those into a family then?
Okay. I'll join them all together.
Make sure the family stay together.
And I'll put them in the family house.
Right. So, have you got some more people there?
Yes.
So where are you going to put those now?
Well, they're just single, so I could put them in here.
Oh, so what have we got now?
Well, we've got 1 family and one person.
Yeah. Go on then, keep counting.
1 family and 2 people.
Good.
1 family and 3 people.
Right, I'm just going to stop that there because I think you get the idea there. That's basically that's sort of a model of how Anne and I would actually teach that, and obviously Anne was playing the part of the child, but we try not. You might have noticed I nearly did try to put the words into Anne's mouth at one point, but I stopped myself from doing it because really what we're trying to do here is get children to do the thinking for themselves, because it's really important that they work through this, and through asking questions we can give them a chance to really, really think about what's actually happening. Now on the ladder, this is where place value comes in. Oh, not on counting activities, on number activities. There we are, place value. So that's what we've just been doing. So grouping into tens, that's the throwing them all up in the air. This one is the big house, little house. And this one is the first activity page where actually we start to formalize it a little bit more, and we come down to this with the tens and units, or tens and ones. We always used to call it units. We always learnt it as units, but recently it's been discovered that if we call it ones, and I can see why it does, because it's 10 ones, 100 ones, not 10 units, 100 units.
Yes.
It's easier for children to remember. It's just harder for us to write it, because then you put an O, and is it a zero anyway? So when we come to do tens and units in columns, although we're only using the 2 columns there, we've left this one blank, because that shows the child, even though they might not even notice it, what you're saying is there is something else there, and we're going to be coming on to use it, so that we don't just see tens and units as a thing. Because what we do, like we did in the video, is we always do it as a set of 3. So we do ones or units, tens of ones, hundreds of ones, and we do it like that. And then we come on to teach the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. But because we've done it in the 3 columns, it's easier for the children to remember. And this is the first time we've called it tens and units. So this time we do a bit more counting, but this time we'd suggest you don't use the figures and the houses. You start to formalize it in a more mathematical way, just to make it different to the other way. So lollipop sticks or straws, and again do the counting, but this time we're just doing bundles of 10. We're not doing families, we're not doing singles, we're doing ones. You could do it with Lego bricks, because they will fit together to make strips of 10, or we do it with bundles of 10.
Yeah.
Then we go on to making some numbers. Can you make me, once we know our children have done that through counting, we start to look at making numbers. Can you, what will 27 look like on that tens and units thing if we're doing it with bundles? What will 35 look like? Or then you can put some bundles on there, say 3 bundles of 10 and 5 single ones. Tell me what number it is. We're still not necessarily writing them down. If your child can write them down, let them write them down. We're just talking about the numbers. Then we would go on to hundreds, tens and units. And again, do the same thing like we did with the big house, little house. We would count again. That's in the green level. Here we go. Hundreds, tens and units. Again, there's all the hints and the tips. Now we've got the 3 columns.
Yeah.
And again, it's there explained quite simply for you how we would do it. Now, we're not saying it's the only way to do it, but what we are saying is we have done it this way and we know it works. And it's worked with children in different schools of different ages. And that's basically what we're offering to you. Then after hundreds, tens and units, instead of going bigger, the next thing we go is we actually go into decimal places.
Because actually, if you look at units, tens and hundreds, if the child has got that, if your child can do that, they can actually do anything on that side of the decimal point.
And the thing that we use to do this is actually money. So in the green hundreds, tens and units, we've used money. As long as your child understands that a £1 coin is the same as 100 pennies, then money becomes a great tool to use, because money is something children are used to handling all the time. and they're used to seeing the different denominations. So here, to begin with, which is the same as happened in the green, the end of the green, the last green, hundreds, tens and units, is we're using pennies as our unit. So they're in the ones, then we have tens, because 10 times bigger, 10 times bigger. So that there would be £3.42. Then what we say to do is slide it along, and this time the pound is our unit that we're counting in. So the 10p's become a part of the pound and the pennies become a part of the pound. Now that still is £3.42, but it's now written in common money notation. So if you write that down for your child, the top one is 342 pennies, which your child might know makes £3.42, but this, the bottom one, is £3.42. We could write it with a pound sign to begin with, 3.42.
Yeah.
And that's as easy as decimal notation is. So then we need to talk about 10p is a tenth of a pound. So then we find the names of the columns. It's all there for you, quite simply written, really for you to lead your child through.
And actually, the two columns after the decimal point is as much as your child needs to learn at this point.
And our final bit is where we then go large. We then go, right, we've done that, we've done this side, we've done the other side. We're going to go and see how far it goes. And we use what we call a place value grid. Now, we use it with colours because, again, that's another way to help your child to differentiate things. It doesn't matter what colour they are, as long as each of the group of three is a different colour. And you can put digits in there, get your child to read out what the numbers are. You could put digits in, they could read them out. You could give them a number out loud, just say a number, ask them to work it out. And literally there's step-by-step way of doing it there. And once your child can do that, you can say, right, they understand place value. Now, place value, we've already seen how it links to counting, and to show you this little end clip that we've got that just shows you what else it actually links with. And this is one of the reasons why it's so vital your child gets it in and understood.
Yes.
So, all of those things, Anne and I do not teach decimals separately than place value. They do, I don't understand why they do. A lot of schools do teach them as a topic. We teach them as part of place value because it's just that natural step across that decimal point. There it is. Once we know about that, we can start to compare it to fractions. So if that's tenths, that column, so what's a half? What would be the equivalent fraction? So then we link it to fractions so that your child learns that 0.5 is the same as a half. And it's all learned through knowing the place value.
Yes, and it makes percentages really quite accessible.
Because they've learned that column is hundredths and the percentage is out of 100.
Yeah.
rounding numbers, it's so useful because they can see, oh, I'm rounding to the nearest 100, so I'm going to be looking at the next two columns to see, you know, to see which 100 it goes to, up or down. And once they know that each column, and I mean, we used to do that bit that we were doing in the video. One of these makes 10 of these. One of these. We would keep saying to children, "How many of these make?" And they would go, "Oh, 10 of these make one. One of these make 10 of these," and they just would, you know, we would just have a laugh about it. But actually, that's what's needed. They just need to know it, like they know how to breathe in and breathe out.
Yeah, it's overlearning, but that has a place because it's so crucial. Place value is one of the crucial skills.
So basically, that's it.
Yeah,
that's place value a la Anne and Pam.
Hope you enjoyed it.
So we hope our videos of use to you. If you've got any problems, just contact us via the website or via email, and we are more than happy to help.
Thank you.
Bye.